Well, hello there. My name is Brian Needleman, and I'm hoping that by the end of this video, you'll have a better understanding as to why I believe white people need to say the words Black Lives Matter. This was not an easy video for me to make for a plethora of reasons. But then, doing what is right is not always easy. Now, this line got a lot of play from the Spider-Man movies, but it actually was popularized by JFK and then before him, Winston Churchill. And this was also a difficult video because I wasn't able to do it extemporaneously. So I got a little help from my trusty yellow pad. This video is dedicated to Kimberly Austin Cathy, her mother Pauline, and her late father Jimmy. Now, the Austins were the only black family on Madison Court, and Kimberly and her parents were always very kind to me. I wasn't conscious about it back then, but the Austins were the anchor that taught me beyond what I was programmed to believe about black people. The Austins intrinsically motivated me to shift from my own prejudices to seeing the irrelevance of color and to see the human being, their kindnesses, and to move toward connection, not separation and emotional segregation. Thank you, Kimberly, and to your parents for being my role models, teaching me by your examples to transform my prejudices to being a better human being, dissolving those prejudices, and moving towards connection and compassion. I wouldn't have been able to do this without the Austin family, so I am forever grateful from the bottom of my heart. I love you, Kimberly, and I don't say that to many people, so you know it's coming from a truthful place. My friend Frederick Howard told me a Jesus story. So for the Jewish folks out there, don't worry, I'm not converting. I'm a Jewish boy, thick and thin. But I take wisdom from all kinds of places. Even though there's some good stuff that comes out of Judaism, there's wisdom that comes from all over the place. He told me the story about the 99 sheep. And the shepherd decided to go after the one sheep that was in danger. The other 99 sheep were saying, hey, well, what about us? And the shepherd said, that one is in danger. Black people are in danger because of the color of their skin. And unfortunately, there are just too many examples to attest to this. Now, why make a video about Black Lives Matter? Because black people have suffered enough racism, bigotry, hatred, and violence towards them since they were brought here as slaves to the present. And it is more important now, during these perilous times, that white people need to step up and support Black Lives Matter. Okay, what qualifies me as a white man to speak about Black Lives Matter? Well, I will never understand what it's like to be looked at and treated unfairly and unjustly because of the color of my white skin. I do have my own experiences of being a Jew and suffering anti-Semitism, but it's not the same as the plights of black individuals. I could say that I have worked with many black folks in my psychotherapy practice over the past 30 years. I could say I took a shitload of cultural sensitivity classes. I could say that I have lots of black friends and working with black colleagues over the years, but I won't. What I've done is I've practiced what I would call a homemade spiritual belief that's called shutting my fucking mouth and listening. It's not just hearing the words of a black person's experience, but really feeling and digesting their truth. Hearing their pain, their anger, their sadness, their fear, and other things. And accepting that the plights of black people are different than my own as a Jewish white man. And then opening my mind and my heart to allowing myself to see and to get that their experience is real to them as much as my experiences are real to me. When a black person is saying Black Lives Matter, they are not saying that all other lives don't matter. That's ridiculous. They are saying in so many words, to hear my plight, see me, see my plight and my experience. See that it's valid to me and it is unique to black individuals. See that we are viewed differently, judged and harmed because of the color of our skin. Now, I didn't make that up. That came from a lot of conversations over the past 30 years from black people. This is why white people cannot hide behind the shield of all lives matter. It's not a bad thing to say all lives matter. It's a good thing. I really don't have any objection toward it. But what it doesn't do is allow white folks and others to step out of their own skin and really hear the plights of black people, what they have experienced, and what they continue to experience in a way that is unique to them, that white people will never understand. Okay, Brian, so what can we do about it? You got to admit to your own racism and bigotry towards black people. Be honest with ourselves. Take responsibility for your truth. I had to take responsibility for my own prejudice and then practice my spiritual belief of shutting my fucking mouth, opening my mind and heart, and accepting from blacks their truth about their plight and it being very different than my own. People need to apologize to black people that they've hurt. They need to do it directly or maybe generally. So I'll start. I was wrong and I am sorry for the things that I've said. I've never physically harmed a black person, of course not. But there were times where maybe I didn't go to an event because it was by black people and I didn't want to be the only white person there. I don't know. All I can do is say that I was wrong and I'm sorry. And I take responsibility for it. And yes, I do feel guilty about it. And I even feel a little bit of a shame and some shame. But I also realized over the years that there wasn't anything fundamentally wrong with me. I was just a victim of my circumstances. People are going to say, yeah, I remember when you made a black joke here and there. Yeah, I did. And that's why I apologized. I can't take it back. But I can take responsibility and move forward, continuing to keep my mind and my heart open and speaking about what I believe is right and just. You can take a stand. White people need to call out their friends, their family members, their coworkers, their Facebook acquaintances, people in their congregations, their rabbis, their priests, their ministers. They need to get involved in their communities. Whoever. Practice listening to black people. You're not going to get everybody to agree with you. Maybe they'll change. Maybe they'll hear what you have to say. Maybe they won't. But we don't need others' approval. And we cannot get attached to the results and only speak up if we feel that we have a sporting chance of getting through to someone. But when you speak up and when you take a stand about what you believe in, about what is right and what is just, you take responsibility for speaking your truth. And you get the satisfaction of knowing that you did what was righteous. So if you know what is right, then do what is right. That line I dedicate to my buddy Dan Adelito, because he was moved when I did that, when I said that line when I made the video about George Floyd. Now, if you believe that Black Lives Matter, then you need to take action and behave like Black Lives Matter. White people cannot sit on the sidelines anymore. They can no longer afford the luxury of being afraid of speaking up for fear of making waves and possibly being ostracized. Again, you do it because you know that it's right and it's just. It is the right thing to do. So just fucking do it. I get it that it's uncomfortable and scary. I was ostracized from the Jewish community and lost a number of Jewish friends because I told the truth about being Jewish and an atheist. It was painful and sometimes it still is, but I regret nothing because I gained a sense of honoring my integrity and my self-respect, and I will never compromise it for anyone. A Holocaust survivor named Eli Wiesel said, silence and neutrality only encourage the tormentor, never the tormented. Now, what else can you do? You got to vote Trump out of office, and you got to give him and his band of not so merry men and women their pink slips. I wonder how many people are going to unfriend me for making that statement. Yes, racism and bigotry towards blacks has been around long before Trump came into office, and it's going to be around long after Trump leaves. But like Albert Schweitzer said, truth has no special hour of its own. Its time is now always. There is a sense of urgency as we can no longer ignore that blacks are in danger. Again, there's too many examples of this, past and present. We are living in a perilous and precarious times. We need a president that has a moral compass, who makes an effort to not just be sensitive to the plights of black people, but works toward modeling for white people about compassion, understanding, and connection, not continuing racial divide and instigating hatred and disconnection that Trump is doing. I could give a plethora of examples to justify my belief as to why Trump is a racist and a bigot, but I'm not going to go there at this time. But what I will say is this. G.W. Bush gave the Presidential Medal of Freedom Award to Dr. Anthony Fauci for his lifetime work being an infectious disease physician and dealing with pandemic responses. Ronald Reagan gave the same award to Eugene Kennedy Shriver for her work in founding and promoting the Special Olympics. Jimmy Carter gave the Presidential Medal of Freedom Award, which again is the highest award that is given to a civilian by the president. He gave it to Jonas Salk, and he was a medical researcher who came up with the polio vaccine. This is not about Democrat or Republican. This is about a president of the United States that gave the Presidential Medal of Freedom Award to Rush Limbaugh, a man who has spent decades doing nothing but spewing racism, bigotry, and hatred towards blacks and others, of course. A man who made a fortune simply by being a racist and bigot and gets awarded the highest Medal of Honor, Presidential Medal of Freedom Award by Donald Trump. So get to the polls and vote as if your life depended on it. You cannot stay on the sidelines for whatever your reasons are. Get over it and vote. Now, I started with a religious story, and I'm going to close with a religious story. I met an Episcopalian minister a long time ago who said that we are all perfect just the way we are because we were all created in God's image. And he said, if God wanted everyone to be white Christian heterosexuals, then he would have made them that way. But instead, he made all kinds of people with different colors and different religions and whatnot. And then he said something that blew my mind. He said that being racist toward one another, racist and bigoted, is blasphemous toward God. Now I'm going to close with a quote by Chadwick Boseman, who he was an actor who played the Black Panther. And he said, "We must find a way to look after one another as if we were one single tribe. When black people suffer, it is our responsibility as white people to step up and take a stand with black people because all of us are part of the same human race." So that's why I wear this shirt. It's an honor to wear this shirt and say the words, Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Take care. And thank you for your time. Bye-bye.